Hi, my name is Victoria Hoffman, and I have the topic Bosnia and Herzegovina. For my first question, identifying the dominant and subordinate groups. Of course, your dominant people, they're going to be more important, they're going to have more power, and in this case, that's going to be the Bosnian Serbs. Your subgroups or your subordinate groups, they're going to have less power, and in this case, it's going to be the Bosniak and Croatian. Bosniaks are Bosnian Muslims, and the term Serb refers to slaves. For the second question, explaining the factors of social stratification and identifying if the groups are open or closed systems, your Bosnian Serbs are going to be open systems because they're going to keep gaining more and more power, and they're going to be able to move up in the social stratification because they're taking over towns and they're controlling towns, telling them what to do, and the towns have no power whatsoever over this, so they're just going to keep getting more power from that, and that's going to put them very high at the social stratification because they get to tell the towns what to do. For your Bosniak and Croatian, these ones are going to be closed systems because they don't have any power the way it is. They're not trying to take over towns and trying to get more power, and they just were not trying to do that, and they have no power, and they're not gaining any power from doing that. It was also very hard because Bosnian Serb was in control of 3/4 of the country, so the Bosniak and Croatians were having a very hard time trying to even gain power and trying to move up in your social stratification because they had no power and they couldn't gain any because they didn't own hardly anything. For the third question, describing an intergroup interaction, the Bosnian government had help from the Croatian army. It just wasn't enough help because the Bosnian Serbs had so much of the country already that they kept winning over the Bosnian and Croatian army. It did not matter what the Bosnian government or the Croatian army did. It was just no match for the Bosnian Serbs. For the fourth question, summarize the human rights that have been violated. The Bosnian Serbs violated quite a few human rights from the Bosniak and Croatians. Some of them being freedom from staying at their house because they were taken from their homes. Some of them being freedom from being raped. Some of them freedom from being sexually assaulted, and some of them were even freedom from getting killed. There were many times where the Bosnian Serbs people would just show up and they would kill the boys and men right then and there, and if they didn't, then they were bused to mass killing camps and they were killed there. For the fifth question with the poverty, I was actually very surprised because Bosnia and Herzegovina were actually not in that much of poverty. There was a little bit, but not as much as I was thinking. They split up poverty into 3 dimensions, one of them being education, one of them being health, and the other one was living standards. With the 3 different sections, they had more groups into them, and they were describing them from that. Bosnia and Herzegovina are kind of an upper middle country, so they're not super up there, but they're also not super low. They don't make a lot of money, but they make enough to get by. So with question number 6, with describing any social movements, the Serbs refused to comply with the United Nations, so the NATO joined efforts with Bosnian and Croatian to actually bomb the Bosnian Serbs for 3 weeks straight. And this was continuous bombing. They did not give any breaks. And this finally led to the Bosnian Serbs to negotiate with Bosniak and Herzegovina because they were tired of getting bombed and because their power was actually getting stripped away from them because NATO came in and actually helped out the Bosnia and Herzegovina. This finally led to the creation of federalized Bosnia divided between Croat Bosniak and Bosniak federation and a Serb republic. So they came up with two different sections instead of them just being one. There's also a day for this. On May of 2024, the United Nations General actually assembled designated July 11th as the International Day of Reflection in commemoration of the 1995 genocide, so people will never forget what happened to all the victims, and so that anyone went through, because this was so big and so gruesome. They wanted a day so that they would never forget it, because over 100,000 people actually did end up dying from this. They did not want any of the victims to be forgot. So this sums up my topic. Thank you.